it is not my path to live like this.
How do you know it's not your path? Because I think a lot of people struggle with that. What should I do? I'm overwhelmed. I have all these possibilities. How do I know it's my path? So happy welcome, everyone, to the very first session of Remembering Human. And I have the honor today to have the person here, which I trust the most in this whole world. And okay, we're not going to start crying right at the beginning. So this is Nina Hoffmann. She's an emotions and trauma coach. She's a speaker. She's a truth speaker, and she's a very wise woman, a very wild woman, and a very gentle woman. And yes, we're going to have the first conversation on Remembering Human today. And
thank you so much for introducing me.
I love to have you on. I want to start with a question which I find very interesting because you can get so many different answers to it. It's like, what is fascinating you right now? Like, what's a topic where you just, oh my God, I love learning about this right now?
One topic.
Okay, yes, you can say maximum 2 topics. But please, like,
I think it is community. And again, because it's not the first time that this topic is fascinating me right now. It's again community and to be vulnerable and how to be in connection with people in a human way.
Yeah.
In a really, truly human way. How to be vulnerable as a human, how to be vulnerable with all of my facets, with all of my emotions. And you know, I'm doing this work already since now 3 years, the trauma healing work, but since 6 years, 6 to 5 years already all the self-development work. But yeah, right now, since I'm in Dubai, since I'm here in my own community, not my own community, but with the people where I feel really seen and where I feel really connected, it is confronting me again with the question, how can I be fully myself?
Yeah.
How can I be really raw and authentic and let go of all the little parts, little voices, little conditionings inside of me that still tries to perform and try to pretend to be something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's one big topic right now for me.
Yeah.
I think it's the topic, yeah.
Do you think being authentic, because a lot of people talk about being authentic, and I think you also had your personal process with that word, authentic. What does that even mean? Do you think that's something that we remember, or is it something that we create?
I think it's something we have to relearn. So it's more like remembering it.
Yeah.
Because I think we are authentic when we are children.
Yeah.
I think we are very raw and authentic. But I mean, it is, you never really know, even when you are a child or even when you are a parent and you see your child, you cannot be 100% sure always this is 100% my child, because what is with the trauma that already happened in the womb? What is with the transgenerational trauma? So yeah, I think authenticity is something we have to remember, but also we have to figure out again and again and again, because it is always about staying curious who you are.
So is there a destination? Will you ever arrive at 100% authenticity, do you think? Or is that even a goal?
You can arrive at a place where you are really authentic in the state of development you are right now. But then when you develop somewhere else, you have to figure out again how to be authentic.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
So it's a constant finding out.
Yeah, it is.
Who am I in this moment? Yeah. And you talked about we're very raw and authentic when we're children. And I want to talk about how you grew up.
Mm.
Okay, we're gonna get into that first reaction.
No, it's so interesting because I mean, I already talked, I think, so much about my childhood when I was in therapy and all this, right?
Yeah.
But since I'm here now in Dubai, well, it didn't start when I was in Dubai. It already started a few months ago when I was in Vietnam. Um, there, it already started in the connection with the other person that I started talking more about my childhood. I think because I was also curious about the childhood of the other person. Um, and that already was so interesting because when I told things, I realized, oh, this was really worse than I thought, to be honest. Because I saw the reaction of the other person, because I heard of the childhood of the other person, and I was like, oh, I knew that it was not perfect, but I still didn't really allowed me to see that it was really shit.
Yes.
Or how it really affected me. When we do not want to judge it, then it's more like, oh, I didn't allow me to see how it really affected me that my parents behaved like this or that their relationship was like this. Yeah, and I think this just continued the last month.
Yes.
And it's so interesting how much more I figure out right now, also with the topic of community and connection to people, because it brings up again my attachment style. And there's still a lot. I see that there's still a lot, and I processed already the last few weeks a little bit more about this. Yeah.
So what would you say? You obviously have a different view right now regarding your childhood versus when you were a teenager versus when you were a child. Like these things develop.
Yeah.
So your sense of belonging, your sense of being at home, how did that change over the years? Like how did you define, obviously subconsciously, as a child home? How did you define it as a teenager, and would you define it now? Like what has changed?
I mean, that's a really interesting question because I never was. I don't know how I defined it as a child. But I was a child, I loved to be somewhere else. I loved to sleep at friends' places. I loved to be not at home. And I think, I don't know if my parents ever questioned that. I think they just thought, oh, she is a easy child. They never had to come and pick me up when I slept at the friend. So, but now from my adult perspective, I see that I just felt more safe often at the place of others than at my own home, because it was very stressful to be at home because my parents were fighting. My mother was emotionally very dysregulated, and it was like a constant activation in my nervous system, constantly looking around, being on the
on edge, like
yeah,
always
being on edge,
having to pay attention, and you're just
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, and as a teenager, I mean, yeah, the thing is that I became really independent very early, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, from my friends, I always was a little bit older than the others. It's because I came in school a little bit late, not very late, but a little bit later. And I think that's why it seemed for everyone normal that I'm a little bit further than the others. But I don't think so. I just had to be like this, you know. I just had to take responsibility for myself and for others really early, because my parents, in some ways, especially on an emotional level, were not able to take responsibility for their emotions. So sure, my parents, they took care that I had a home, well, in a, so I'm
You had a roof over your head,
yeah,
so you were not living on the street.
right. So my
Yeah.
parents took care that I had
That's good job.
a roof over my head, that I had food, that I had stuff to play with. We also went to vacation once or twice a year. Nothing big, but you know, we had everything from the outside. But on an emotional stage, my parents were not able to take care of me and my sister the way we needed. So I had to start to take responsibility for my own emotions and for the emotions of my parents very early. And obviously, I was not able to. I just tried to figure it out somehow.
Yeah.
So, and then when I was a teenager, I started to try to figure out everything by myself. So, I mean, there were situations where I reached out for my parents, obviously, because when I was 13 and I changed schools because of the bullying, I had to talk with my parents, right? Because they had to do all the organization stuff, and they also they looked for to support me. They looked for other people to support me through this, but
So what was your sense of home? Like, how was there a sense of home?
I cannot remember, to be honest. I cannot tell you that there was really a sense of home. I think there were more like moments where I felt home. I always loved special days like Christmas or Easter or all this, where it felt like the family is coming together. And it was, to be honest, often it was stressful as well, but it seemed like everyone tried more to be like a family, to have a nice time together, even when it often also didn't work, because then there was pressure and then it also didn't work.
Yes.
And as a teenager, I think it was the same. I cannot tell you that I had like really a imagination of what's home.
Yeah.
And I think that is still something I'm figuring out yet.
Yeah.
And I have already figured out a lot, I would say. But
what does figure out mean in that sense? Like, what have you learned? How are you defining it now?
Finding home inside myself, but then also through the connection to myself, figuring out what do I need to feel home in the outside as well. So sure, my body is my home.
Yes.
And I don't want to I don't want to attach this to something in the outside, but at the same time, I'm an individual. I have needs, I have wishes, I have uniqueness, and through the connection to my body, I can figure out more and more what in the outside I want to have to feel also in the outside at home.
Yeah.
And not only in the inside. And I mean, the outside follows the inside. The more I feel home in my body, the more I am connected to myself, the more I will be able to feel what's in the outside is aligned with my unique imprint and what's not.
Yes.
And this is how I am figuring out more and more what I wish for my home.
Yes.
Inside and outside.
That's very beautiful. Because what you said is very interesting, because of a lot of people who are on the same journey, I think in the West, try to figure it out all on their own sometimes. You have to be 100% okay with only yourself, and it sometimes sounds like you need to be able to survive without any other human, like being dependent on any other human, and we view this as like a bad thing sometimes. And being in connection to other cultures, you learn that this is not normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
What have you like experienced? Because you said like I'm searching for also in other people, like in
Yeah.
different things.
I mean, I also thought that for such a long time that I have to figure out everything by myself. Even with all the self-development I already did, with all the therapy I did, with all the emotional stuff I did, I still thought I have to figure out everything by myself.
Why?
Be-
Why was
Mhm.
it just a survival mechanism, or was it also a societal conditioning?
Yeah, absolutely a societal conditioning. Because I mean it is a very small way between just living after your trauma patterns where you are still attached to other people and still use them to feel better and all this, and being in true connection, and allowing yourself to receive help and to be held.
Yes.
And I think that was something where I was always afraid that I'm still in a trauma pattern, because I saw it at the people around me. I saw how oh, I saw how they live in their trauma bonds with other people and
Yes.
don't want to reflect it, don't want to face their pain and their topics behind it. And this was also something where I was like, I don't want this,
Yes.
because I came from a state where I felt attached to relate, especially to men and a relationship with men, and I felt like I am I needed this. I don't wanted this feeling anymore.
Yeah. Okay, we're back after a short intermission of Kat throwing over the water glass. Yes, we were talking about your feeling of home and how societal conditioning versus you experiencing community has kind of like taught you that you don't have to do everything alone.
Yeah, right. And that this also has a lot to do with society, but also with what I saw at the outside. And I was like, I don't want to live in my attachment patterns. So it's better when I do everything by myself, so
Yeah.
I can make sure that I'm not in an attachment pattern, right? But that's just shit, to be honest. And this was something I knew in my head from the beginning. And I mean, I healed a lot in community.
Yes.
But yeah, it also took time.
Yeah.
Because trauma happens in the connection to your parents, to other people, always in connection. Trauma always happens in connection. And so we have to go into connection with others again,
Yeah.
to heal it.
Yes.
And it is so simple to understand that with your brain, but to bring this in your body, that's a totally different way.
It is.
And and this whole work, my belief in what we need, what the world needs, is embodiment. So much embodiment.
Can you, first of all, shortly explain what is an attachment pattern for people who don't know?
Yeah.
And then also explain what is embodiment.
Okay. Yeah. So, attachment pattern is that you build through your experience in your childhood. But I mean, when your parents have not a secure attachment style, then you truly just adapt them as well.
So attachment style is just the way you go into relationship with
Right.
other people.
Yeah. It is how you go in relation with other people. If you avoid conflicts, if you avoid to show yourself, if you feel the need to clinch on other people, or if you're always switching between hi, here I am, and okay, now I'm away.
Yeah.
Now I ghost you. And then, oh hi, here I am again. So yeah.
Yeah. Why is that so important? Why do we talk about this so much?
Because everything is connection.
Yeah.
Everything in your life is connection. it's your connection to your work, if it's your connection to money, if it's your connection to your friends and your partner, if it's the connection to yourself, if it's everything is connection. And everywhere where connection is, your attachment style arise and will play the game.
Yes.
And as long as you do not know your patterns, your attachment style, the wounds behind this, they will run your life and your business.
Yes, without you even knowing.
Yeah. And you will, eventually you will identify yourself with it and will say, oh, I'm just like this.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest bullshit you can tell yourself.
Yeah, very true.
You know that.
I know that. You know that. You've dealt with this a lot.
Yeah.
We're also talking about embodiment. You said the word needs more embodiment. What does that mean? And why?
That's a really good question, because so many people are talking about nervous system work, embodiment, what else? Embodiment is important, but we cannot embody something where is still a wound behind it. Mm-hmm. As long as you carry the wound and you try to embody something, it will always be like having a
band-aid or having a cut.
Yeah, having something in your skin, like from a rose, you know, a little thorn.
Yeah.
And instead of pulling the thorn out and looking what does the wound need to heal, to take care of it, you just put a band-aid above it.
Yeah.
And now you're like, and now it's healed.
That's a good image.
Yeah, right?
Yes, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, this is when you do embodiment without the trauma work.
Yeah.
Because then it's again this thing of, I just fake it till you make it.
Yes.
Fake it till you make it is exactly the embodiment a lot of people do, and they never embody really. Yes. Because they cannot embody something where they still carry pain from. Yes. You cannot embody confidence when you still have the pain of feeling not worthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you see this as a spectrum, or is it black and white?
No, it is a spectrum.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, you can have some topics already very good embodied and others not. And it is always a moving process.
Yeah. I want to come back to your family, because we now explored a lot already.
Yeah.
And back to where you come from, because I know your family also has a history of refuge.
Yeah, that's right.
Your great-grandparents?
Yeah, both.
Both, on both sides, fled. People sometimes don't remember that people from Germany, we also had early refugees. And how did that play into your sense of belonging, your sense of home, your parents, all that?
I mean, a lot, because that's so interesting, because I think for a long time I didn't allow myself to realize that we have a history like this that is similar to people right now that are fleeing out of their country because of war into Germany, right? And it was that my grandparents flew from Ostpreußen and Schlesien. So this was Germany in the past, and they had to flee because these things were given away after the Second World War, right? Yes. So, and it seemed like, well, they lived in Germany and then they flew in Germany to other place in Germany. That's not really, but it is.
Yes.
Because they were not wanted.
Yeah.
And they never felt wanted. And I know from both of my grandparents that they always wanted to go back.
Yeah.
They always wanted to go back. And this is something that influenced my family deeply, in a deep way. So in my family, I do not know someone in my family that has roots. No one in my family has roots.
Interesting.
And I think most of the people in my family know that we do not have roots and know that we have these topics. But more in a, not in a really aware way. It's more like they know it, but not in a deep way, more on the surface. And I think I haven't felt into this topic since a long time, because I think it was very present at the beginning of my journey, sometimes more, sometimes less. Because, yeah, the more I arrived in my body and decided to make my body my home again, it was not that important anymore for me to
look on the outside.
To look on the outside, why it is how it is. So,
have you ever visited?
No. I was in Poland once, but that was in my teenage years. I had a few weeks ago, I had the impulse again that I would like to go to St. Petersburg.
Yes.
One day. I don't know
St. Petersburg is in Russia, right?
Yeah, but it's right. It's in Russia, but for me, it's like I want to go to East Europe, because Schlesien and Ostpreußen were both there. I think Ostpreußen was Poland, and Schlesien, I cannot tell you. I just feel I really want to go to East Europe and look what's there for me, because most of the time we do not know what's there for us, right? We just feel there's this impulse to go there. Yeah.
So you also think, because I've obviously experienced this a lot,
Yeah.
the connection to the land somewhere, that's the actual land you're standing on, that has such an impact on you.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't. But certain places will conjure up feelings that you can't really explain.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe this would happen for you in East Europe.
Yeah. I mean, it happened at every place I think I went the last half a year. Every place had something to offer to me. And sometimes I didn't know what exactly it was, just that I felt that process were going on, sometimes more consciously, sometimes more subconsciously. And at the same time, the whole travel journey taught me that it is nice to see the world, that this is important, that is a part of me. Traveling is a part of me, seeing new things, figuring new things out, being in contact with people, different cultures, experiencing the world. But at the same time, it is not my path to live like this.
How do you know it's not your path? Because I think a lot of people struggle with that. What should I do? I'm overwhelmed. I have all these possibilities. How do I know it's my path?
It didn't feel right for me. And not in a, I think, at one point you already know so much about you, you already know so many patterns that you can differentiate between, is that now I don't want this because it doesn't feel safe for my nervous system, or is it I don't want this because this is my intuition talking with me.
Yes.
And this is again so interesting, because before I went to Dubai, I don't want to come here because I had the thought, oh, Dubai is way more expensive than Asia, and this will be more difficult for me, and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, I don't want this.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I have to do this.
Shit, how this always goes.
Yeah. And then I did this, and then I went here, and then I think just 1 week, it was 1 week here, and then I was like, okay, I think I have to figure out somehow to move here. I don't want this. So it is really so interesting because it is not about what you want.
Yes.
Even sometimes with clients, you have to talk with them about what they want because they never allow themselves to want anything. That's the thing, right? People are so individual. So sometimes you tell a person, okay, let's figure out what you want, and half a year later, you will tell the same person it is not about what you want. And the person will be like, huh, but half a year ago you told me. And then I'm yeah, you were at a different stage.
Yes.
So first we had to make it safe again for you to want things, to allow yourself to have needs, have wishes. But then when you already have arrived deeper in your body, it's not about what you want anymore. It's about what you need. What is the way right now for you? So yeah.
Because if we would always act according to what we want, we would eat cheeseburgers maybe every day, and we would not take care of us.
Yeah. We would just go after addiction, right?
Yes.
So, and then there's again, it's not about what feels good. But at the same time, you have to learn to figure out what doesn't feel good because it is just unknown for my nervous system, and what doesn't feel good because it is really not my path.
Yes.
But I think for this, often you just have to try it out.
Yes.
And not say no from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because always when you say no from the beginning, it might be something that there is a resistance inside of you. And resistance is always a sign for there is something going on.
Yes. If there's a resistance, you always have to do the hard thing.
Yeah.
Even if it's not very fun.
We all know that, right?
No. I wanted to ask you this question because we've also not never talked about it, but we haven't talked about it much. And that is your eating disorder.
Yeah.
And I know you've had a long journey with that and with your body. And it's been, this is a totally different life you're living now compared to years ago.
Yeah.
But having an eating disorder as a human with a body, I imagine it changes so much in the way you view your body, how you feel in your body, what you experience with it. And I just want to know how that felt at the time and how does it feel now? What changed? What did you learn from it? Let me take me.
So, yeah, my eating disorder, I mean, it started very early, I would say, because I learned from my father to eat to regulate my emotions. And this was a thing that connected us.
Yeah.
We always had our little break with milk and cookies. And then we went into the garden and then we sat there. He built a house out of wood for me. And then we sat in the house with our milk and our cookies. Yes. And this was obviously very, very sweet.
Yeah.
But, we connected through food, and he regulated his emotions through eating, and I also learned that. And this was why I was always a little bit chubby, and my mother worked often. So my father worked in the morning, and then when I came from school home, my mother was there for 1 or 2 hours, and then she left, and then my father came back. So it was always someone at home. But so this cookies and milk thing always happened when my mother was not there. And this was a big conflict in their relationship as well, because she saw that I gained weight, and she didn't wanted this.
Yeah.
And so it was like they were not working together. They worked against each other. So my mother was telling me, you have to I don't know. I think when I was 11 or 12, she told me that I should just randomly ride my bike. We have a promenade.
Promenade.
Like a promenade in Münster. And she said to me, yeah, just ride your bike twice this promenade.
Just do it.
just for movement.
Yes.
But with, and surely that just gave me like a feeling, okay, my body is not okay how it is, right? And all the girls next to me were thin and little, and also my body was already more developed than other bodies.
Yeah.
And so this was, I think, the first stage was that I learned to regulate my emotions through food. And then I started feeling wrong because I was chubby and different than the other people. And then it started off, okay, I have to do something. But, and that's, I think the crazy thing is that this thought arrived after I lost weight without wanting to lose weight.
Interesting.
So in the time where I got bullied in school, I lost weight without that I didn't do anything for it. It just happened. I think because I was stressed or whatever. And then I remember my sister was somewhere in the world and she saw a picture of me and she wrote me, "Oh, you look so thin in this picture." And I think my mother also said something like this. And this was the first moment in which I thought, I am not allowed to gain weight anymore.
Oh.
So it was nothing that really arose through my inside. It arose the moment I got attention and valuing at the outside for being thin.
Interesting.
This was the moment where I was like, now I started to be afraid to gain weight again and to lose this again. And so my eating disorder was like, sometimes it was worse, sometimes less. I was already aware about this when I was a teenager, that I have that I have to be careful to not become how is it called?
Anorexic?
Yeah, anorexic. Then there was a time where I was bulimic, but just for a short period, because then my body decided, no, I'm not able to throw up anymore.
Yes, okay.
So what's really good, right?
Yes.
So yeah, and it was, it was stressful because I went to the lake. I always thought about food. I thought about, okay, I'm not allowed to eat anything this afternoon because otherwise someone will see my belly or something like this. So I thought a lot about food. I thought a lot about sport, my whole identity. So when I was 16, it started that my whole identity and self-worth was connected to how I look and how sporty I am. And in school, at the end, when we graduated, we also had like this book with some questions and everything. And there was also the question, who is the most sporty person of the year? And so we had two guys on the first and second, and I was on the third place as the only woman.
Wow.
So I was really known for this. And yeah. What was the other question?
My question was how that influenced your relationship to your body
To
and
my
how
body,
you felt in your body now versus then, because now you can tell the difference.
Yeah. I mean, I hated my body. So I had so many destructive self-talk about my body. It was so known for me. It was so normal for me. I knew it in a way, but I didn't really realize how worse it was. I think so. And I mean, the eating disorder was one thing, right? But then I also got the depression and the suicidal thoughts. And I think this shows how deep the self-hate really was, and the lack in which I was.
Yes.
And this is something I sometimes still forget, how deep the pain sat. And I think I haven't talked a lot. No, I know I haven't talked a lot about my suicidal thoughts, because for me it was something when they arised, and when I got anxious, because I was like, I start feeling really bad, and I'm really not sure if I want this life anymore. So, and for me, this moment was, I have to get rid of this, because I'm really scared that I will do something to myself. So, and sure, I talked about this a little bit in therapy, but this was also something where I felt like I have to figure that out by myself. So, sure, I go to therapy, I will talk about my eating disorder and all this stuff. I will also tell that I have these thoughts, but I don't want to show anyone how bad it is. And this is also something where I carried a lot of shame for a long time. And just recently, I started again to think and to feel about this and to figure out, oh, wow, there's still shame that a part of me sometimes, didn't know how to live this life and all this. And the eating disorder and the depression and the suicidal thoughts, it is all connected. These are all different layers of a way deeper topic. And it is always about, for me, it was always about self-worth, self-trust, trust in life.
Yeah.
Because also the suicidal thoughts are like, do I trust myself enough to live a life that's worthy for me to be lived? Do I trust myself enough? And through the body work, so today I got rid of my symptoms of the eating disorder really fast.
Yes.
So max half a year. So I made a decision. I was like, I will not count calories anymore. And I stopped directly. And I started to eat normal again and all this. And sure, I still was anxious at some points, but after half a year, I had no symptoms in my behavior anymore. But it needed longer to get also rid of the thoughts. So the thoughts was something that needed longer. And now, since 3 years, the eating disorder is really no topic at all anymore. It is out of my life. Interesting. So, and once I was at a party and I talked with a person who was a psychotherapist, and she asked me why I do not take drugs or something like this. And then I said that I know that I have the tendency to be addicted because I had an eating disorder, and an eating disorder is also addiction. So, and then she asked me how it is going with the eating disorder, and I told her, it's not there anymore. And then she was like, that's not possible. The eating disorder is always there. And I was like, no, bitch, who are you? So really, and then really I just stopped talking with her, because I was like, I don't have to talk with dumb people. So, but this was again so interesting for me, that people at the outside wants to tell me what I'm able to achieve for myself and what's not, while I already knew the eating disorder is out of my reality. It's not in any kind part of my personality anymore. But the topics can arise differently. So eating disorder is connected to control. And sometimes then over the years I saw, oh, here's a control topic again. And I knew, oh, okay. So sometimes even when the symptoms become less, it could be that the wound is not 100% healed yet. And that it will arise in different kinds. So, and today the connection to my body is so much better. It is since years already. I have never thought to have a connection like this to my body,
Yes.
to not have daily destructive thoughts. But at the same time, it's still a development.
Yeah.
So I also still figure things out, find things where I'm like, oh, there's still shame. Oh, there's still this. But it is not that overwhelming anymore. It is not that like it doesn't affect me in such a big way anymore. Yeah. So yeah, and I have the tools to work with it. I have the people around me to support me. I have my coach and mentor, so I do not try to figure that all out by myself, and I become so more soft and vulnerable, and I am already, and I'm becoming it more and more and more. And I think that is right now the way for me, but I know also the way for a lot of other people to become more vulnerable, more vulnerable, more vulnerable.
That ties perfectly into the question I wanted to ask you next.
Yeah.
Is a lot of people are so disconnected from themselves, and the work you do is focused on exactly that.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, what disconnects people from themselves and from others?
Mm-hmm.
And you just said one thing: people can become more vulnerable, more vulnerable. What would you say should people do, or like what is to become more human, more connected? What's the way?
You have to create safe connections again. You have to, I mean, surely you have to become aware of your patterns. You also have to understand your nervous system, how it works. This is all the knowledge it needs on the surface. But then you have to get a coach, create a safe connection with this coach, create a safe connection to yourself again, and then create safe connections to other people again, because you will be able to feel if the other person is ready to create a safe connection with you or not.
Yes.
It is about connection, 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 because as I already said, trauma happens in connection and creates separation. And that's why we have to go into connection again with other people and with ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. And with our body. So, I mean, this is the connection to ourselves, right?
This is what I also find very interesting, what you said earlier. This woman tried to negate what you have achieved for yourself.
Yeah.
And you described the way that you went. You went from the behavior to the thoughts, then you went to the emotion, and then there's the wound underneath.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people stop at the behavior, maybe they go to the thoughts, and then they think it's done.
Yeah.
But you described it's not that way. It goes deeper.
Right. Yeah. Because, I mean, some people struggle to change their behavior because of the emotional wound, what makes a lot of sense, right? Because the emotional wound is the reason why they have this behavior. But so many people are good in control and to pretend and to do their being. They do not struggle to change their behavior. But changing your behavior doesn't change your wound, doesn't heal your wound. So the wound will find a new way. It may be drama in your relationship, it may be drama at work, it may be new struggle, new destructive thoughts, whatever. So, yeah.
You said something very interesting there. You said they're so good at doing their being.
Yeah. I say this a lot.
Can you explain this?
Yeah, I can. Because I say this a lot, and in my last open mic where I talked about the voice and why our voice is so important for our expression, to connect with the outside, to bring our insight to the outside, and to create connection and community. I also talked about acting out and do our being. It is that most of the people don't know how to be, because from a very little age, we already learn how we have to be. We are conditioned by society. We experience our own trauma, but also the transgenerational trauma, the trauma of our parents. So just a little amount of humans on this whole planet grew up without any of this and really knowing who they are. So most people learn how they have to be and how they should be.
Yes.
And this is not being, this is doing, this is pretending, this is thinking. And most people think, oh, I'm like this and this, and they never question it. And I think this is the worst thing you can do, just accept who you are. Because there's also this one sentence people say to other people to their birthday or what, stay who you are. You know this, oh, I love you so much, please just stay who you are. And it's the worst thing someone can say to you.
Yes.
Because please not stay who you are, because eventually you are still identified with something you are not.
Yes.
So please get aware of this and get rid of this, so that you can become more your being again. And this is again not a process you will ever finish.
No.
It is a lifelong process. So, but please stay curious about it. Please do not stop just because I have already done so much. I have already done so much work. But then you did it wrong, because then you were still doing and trying to fix something. That's not what it is about.
And it's also not about devaluing yourself.
It's
about, yes, I see, I value who I am, but still, I will not accept this as my reality. Because if we had said, okay, I'm not changing anymore, I accept myself as I am, we would not be friends anymore. I think at this day and time. I think we can both say that. So that's very, very interesting. How you say that. I just want to finish with one question, and I think I love that question. It's, what do you want to create? What is your vision? And I know this is huge and can be huge. But can you summarize it in a way?
I mean, at the end, I wish that we create a community which is mostly trauma-free, with very little trauma bonds, trauma whatever. A community with a lot of trauma-aware people, because I think this is important. It's not about perfection, because we all carry our topics, we all have our issues, our emotional pain. But I wish for a community where everyone is aware about trauma, so everyone has the tools to decide to work on it and to become more and more and more authentic. Because as we said, it's not a process that is finished, but it is about a community where everyone takes responsibility for themselves, and so the person can also take responsibility in the community and for the community. And this is something I wish for.
Something you want to build.
Absolutely.
It's very, very beautiful. One question that I want to ask is, do you now have just one question for me that you would like to ask me? Just off the top of your head, something that comes up. You don't have to. Just...
How do you feel right now with this? How do you feel in this new role you took on right now? Because, it is like our coach role, this is also a role, hosting this podcast.
I enjoy it. It's still new, it's uncomfortable. Not intensely uncomfortable, just new. It's just not known. Like we said earlier, it's not always the perfectly feeling thing. And I was so excited for this podcast.
I was also so excited.
And I love talking. Obviously, we've talked about
I always love talking with you.
not as if we've never talked.
No.
We have talked about most of these things.
All our talks could be a podcast.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Very true. I just put a frame around what
and you did it really
do.
well.
Thank you.
Yeah, really. Yeah. So nice. I love it.
Thank you. I enjoyed it a lot. It comes very natural.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the talking and the listening to people is what we do in our work anyways. Yeah. But to create a sort of storyline around it that makes sense and that has like a certain kind of frame, but it was so interesting to me also to ask myself, what do I want to ask you, you as Nina? There's questions that I want to ask a lot of people, but there are certain questions that only I want to ask you, that only you could talk about. And yeah, you just voiced so many beautiful things in the way I said earlier, very wise, and you're very good with your words. And you know, this was very beautiful. Yeah, and I just love listening to you talk, and I love this role. This is very fun.
It feels so, I can see you so well in this role.
Yes.
I'm so curious about everything we'll develop.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be so exciting.
Yeah.
There's going to be so many people in the spot you're sitting right now, and so many different people. I'm so excited to ask them the same questions I asked you, some of the same questions, and how they're going to answer and what their point of view is. And yeah, very exciting. Thank you for being my very first guest.
Thank you for gifting me the space for all your questions. Yeah.
Very proud of you too. What a fun.
Yeah, really. Just being us.
Okay.